Stardom beckons now on BBC One.
In 1999, a new kind of TV talent show hit primetime in the UK. Its goal? To find the next big pop star. The public would vote for their favourite performance, and the winner would release a single through a major record label in hopes of becoming the next big thing. The name of this show? Get Your Act Together.
We're here again. I'm Ronan Keating and this is Get Your Act Together, the show that gives...
Get Your Act Together premiered on BBC One in February 1999, hosted by Boyzone frontman Ronan Keating. The show only ran for one season and the winners, Marlowe, released their single How Do I Know in the summer of '99. It charted for 1 week, peaking at number 56. Get Your Act Together wasn't the first TV talent show in the UK. We already had shows like New Faces and Stars in Their Eyes.
So tell us who you're going to be tonight, Paul.
Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Ronan Keating.
Ronan Keating! No, singing line, Paul Sutton is Ronan Keating!
It's amazing how you...
Is this what Stars in Their Eyes was like? Why did they not keep this? This is amazing. It wasn't even the first one to hold a public vote. Opportunity and Ox had done that for years. The real difference here was the prize. The winners weren't just given money, they were being offered a contract with Polydor Records. The idea was to find the next big pop star and give them a career, which clearly they didn't do. Get Your Act Together has been forgotten to time. It doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. This is Ronan Keating at his most famous. This is the same year he released When You Say Nothing at All, that song that makes your nan cry.
Where that single word, you can light up the dark.
The winning band, Marlowe, have been practically wiped from the internet. Their single isn't on any streaming service, and no videos of their winning performance seem to exist online. People just did not watch this programme. It didn't crack the 30 most viewed shows on BBC on any week it aired, not even for the final. People were too busy watching... What were they watching? Reruns of Only Fools and Horses. Ouch. I mean, fair enough, it's a good show. And you would think this show would be successful. Saturday night on BBC One is a prime viewing slot. Ronan Keating was a big name to be hosting. 1999 is, scientifically speaking, the best ever year for pop music. And Marlowe's single was honestly pretty catchy. So why did this fail in 1999? And, more to the point, why in 2001 did this become a cultural reset? Pop Idol first aired on ITV in October 2001, with the season 1 finale airing in February 2002. It was the second most watched programme on British television that week, only narrowly losing the top spot to Coronation Street. And I'm not surprised, this was Pete Corey. Richard had just claimed his first victim in Dougie Ferguson, and you're like, oh, is he going to get away with it? Is he going to do it again? Is Gail going to find out? It was so gripping. Season 1 Pop Idol contestants garnered 6 UK number ones in 2002 alone and sold out a national arena tour that same year. Pop Idol was responsible for the biggest selling song of 2002, the second biggest selling song of 2002, and the 6th biggest selling song of 2002. Do you know who just fell short of reaching the top 10 biggest selling songs of 2002? Ronan Keating!
I can never explain.
Oh, I would hate this show. If I were Ronan Keating, this show would be my number one arch nemesis. I would hate it. I'd be so mad at it. Where was this energy for Get Your Act Together? But where was this energy for Get Your Act Together? What caused one to flop and one to succeed? What lessons were learned between 1999 and 2001? What changed? I think it was 2 things. Here's the first thing. Big Big Brother first hit British screens in the summer of 2000 and was an instant ratings smash for Channel 4. The tagline of the show? Who goes? You decide. Oh, I shouldn't have done the accent, that was a bad idea. I'm sorry. TV shows had done phone-in voting before, but never quite like this. Traditional competition shows would introduce new acts every week. Big Brother started with 10 contestants and gradually whittled them down until only one remained. This gladiatorial battle royale style of competition show was new. It was exciting, it got the people going. It's hard to emphasise just how much of a phenomenon Big Brother was. One of the contestants brought a pen and some paper into the house, which was against the rules, and it was all anyone in the country could talk about. It made the news. It made the news. Get Your Act Together followed a more traditional competition format. Each week, new contestants would be introduced, the audience voted on a winner, and that week's winner would move on to the finale. And you weren't going to see them again before the finale. You didn't get to know them as the competition progressed. They didn't have to keep fighting for their spot week after week. You didn't have to keep rooting for them. Plus, the public vote was limited to just the studio audience, so the viewer at home had a very limited sense of connection to the competitors. Big Brother changed the way audiences interacted with competition shows. They essentially got to decide the content of their favourite programme as the weeks went on, giving more screen time to their favourite characters and writing off the less popular ones. It's like if we got to vote on who Richard's next target was. Will he get away with it? I said I wasn't going to do the accent again. Sorry. This, it turned out, was the golden format for reality competition shows. We don't want new faces, we want to keep seeing our favourite faces every week until they're the only faces left. It scratches the same itch as a slasher film, and the winner is Jamie Lee Curtis surviving Michael Myers. It's probably what it feels like for the contestants too. This would be the formula that made Pop Idol a cultural reset. But there was a second lesson learned between 1999 and 2001. And that lesson was cringe. Cringe has always been a staple of entertainment, from You've Been Framed to Tommy Cooper's bad on purpose magic act. We just love to laugh at the failure of others. But we're trying to create a talent competition. Why would you showcase bad performances on a talent competition? Cue Pop Stars, a 2001 behind-the-scenes documentary series about the creation of a new pop band. The show did well with audiences, and the band, Hearsay, hit #1 in the UK with their debut single Pure and Simple. But if you remember only one thing from Pop Stars, it's not Hearsay. It's Darius.
Here goes nothing, I hope, and that I get through today and I can prove to the judges that I've got a lot to give that they haven't seen yet.
This is when I get to talk about Darius, I'm so excited. Darius was an aspiring singer-songwriter from Glasgow. He was an early favourite on the show, being well liked by both judges and his fellow hopefuls. His unshakable confidence and over-the-top platitudes made him TV gold, but it was his performance of Britney Spears' One More Time that made him an instant icon.
I must confess, I still believe, give me a sign, hit me baby one more, hit me one more time.
I bet he was feeling really red when he watched this back. It was so wrong, and he was so proud of himself, and it's really hard to watch. But it caused Popstars ratings to jump from 7 to 8 million viewers an episode to 10 to 12 million viewers an episode. A realisation was made that day. You can put bad singing on television, on purpose, and people will enjoy it. Possibly even more than the good singing. Who knew this was possible? For the record, Darius did not make it into the band, but head judge Nigel Lithgow had these words of encouragement for him as he sent him on his way.
Darius is a survivor in life, and Darius will do whatever Darius has to do to survive. And it wouldn't surprise me if Darius does get a platinum disc within the next 5 years, and I wish him well in getting it.
Interesting. It was the success of Big Brother and Popstars that led Nigel Lithgow to team up with the man who put the S in S Club 7, Simon Fuller, to create a new kind of TV talent show. Again.
Hello and welcome to Pop Idol, the show that's on a mission to find the nation's next musical megastar.
Nigel Lithgow and Simon Fuller mixed the most successful elements of pop stars with the competition format of Big Brother to create Pop Idol, a TV talent show where hopeful singers aged 16 to 26 performed for the chance to win a £1 million recording contract and a shot at stardom. Also part of the production team was record executive Simon Cowell, a then unknown name to the British public, who would serve as the show's head judge. Joining Simon on the judging panel were Dr. Fox, a popular radio DJ, Nicky Chapman, creative director of 19 Management, and Pete Waterman, the inventor of the Rickroll. Rounding out the cast were presenting duo Antor Deck.
Yes, I have Antor Deck.
And they're the ones who really hold these first few episodes together. The pilot episode in particular is so strange. It's unlike any other audition episode I've ever seen. It's an hour-long programme and you don't see a proper audition until about 35 minutes in. Before that, it's the show explaining what it's about through comedy skits from Anton Deck and talking heads from the judges and pop stars like Ronan Keating! Oh no! They got my boy! It feels less like you're watching a talent show and more like one of those countdown shows they put on between Christmas and New Year. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like the 100 greatest musical moments, and it's hosted by Denise Van Outen, and watching it feels like you're scrolling BuzzFeed. It's like that. It just takes so long to get to the actual auditions. This first episode is like they're merely getting ready to rumble, whereas I would personally like to watch them wreck the mic. And in between all that, you get little clips of people performing, and they're mostly bad auditions. I crunched the numbers. There are double the bad auditions to good auditions. They literally sell the show on its bad performances.
ITV1 would like to warn viewers that the songs featured in tonight's episode of Pop Idol should only be attempted by professionals. Certain songs in the show are extremely dangerous, and if attempted by members of the public, could result in serious harm or injury. Viewers may find some scenes disturbing.
And it worked! See? It's like Darius!
Will, my mind's made up by the way that I feel.
Remember how much you enjoyed Darius?
Seemed like a crush, but it doesn't mean that I'm serious.
Here's more Darius.
And you know you can survive.
This woman here, she got an advertising campaign with Pizza Hut because of her memorable bad audition. She sang the YMCA and served the judges a stuffed crust. That happened. And she's not comically bad at anything, she just picked an odd song. At least she didn't pick I'm Out of Love by Anastasia, because apparently every other person performed that, and eventually Pete Waterman requested that people stop singing it, which made this guy really mad. He's like, hey, square go, Pete.
Thank you anyway.
Okay, I'd just like to offer Pete out if you wanted to have a scrap, because he said outside. So if you wanted to go, you know, we'll have a go in here. Seriously, if you want to have a scrap, well, you said out there, you bullied everyone, you said you wanted to have a scrap with him. You want to have a scrap with me.
You never said that to him.
Oh, he did, I did.
Anthony.
No, sorry. I really respect you, and I respect you, but you're a bully.
Are you fed up? He's not a bully, though.
No, he's a bully.
What is this? What I find really interesting is that these early audition episodes, it's Pete Waterman who's painted as the mean judge. And I don't think that's quite right. He's not calculated or cruel, he's just grumpy. He'd probably rather be at home playing with his model trains. And I mean that literally. Pete Waterman is a really big model train enthusiast. He's built one of the most impressive model railways in Britain. I guess Pete Waterman loves two kinds of tracks. But not all tracks. Sadly, in 2002 he was personally victimised by the sound of the underground. Dr. Fox I can only describe as like the hilarious Ross Matthews of the panel. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's preloaded. So, you know that way when you're on a judging panel and you want to have memorable one-liners, so you're preloaded so you can roll them off without hesitation? That's you, Dr. Fox. Oh, Dr. Fox. He's not even a real fox. Nikki's my favourite judge. She's so jeans and a nice top, do you know? She's kind and constructive in her criticism. She clearly has experience managing young talent and the high-running emotions that can come with that. She's honest and lets people down gently. She's a good judge, and she doesn't bring any drama, which is probably why she was never brought back to judge any other talent shows after this. It's a real shame, I like her. Simon's pretty quiet in the auditions. It seems like he's bored a lot of the time. He hasn't really reached his full power yet, but he will. Just wait. The first episode really only focuses on two contestants, Ben and Gareth. Ben is the most 2001 man I have ever seen. I don't have the frame of reference to know if we were supposed to think he looked cool back then, or if the audience saw the Dragon Ball of it all and knew not to take it too seriously. I think it's the former though. I'm not sure. Elder millennials, call me. Gen X, fax me. I need to know. Ben is the legitimate pop star. He's confident, he's blonde and spiky, he wears sunglasses indoors. Gareth came along to auditions with his sister. They sing show tunes together at home with all the harmonies, and I did the exact same thing with my sister, so I can relate so hard. Gareth is 17 and looks mildly terrified the whole time. On top of that, Gareth has a pronounced stammer that significantly affects his speech. Stammers can be further exacerbated by stressful situations like auditioning for a TV talent show. And we see Gareth struggle here. First into the audition room is trendy, confident Ben, serenading the judges with a Westlife song.
Prouder than anything I ever could achieve.
Unfortunately, Ben does not go Super Saiyan in his auditions.
Ben, I think one of your problems is you fall into a category that a lot of people have fallen into. You sound like the artist you're singing.
It was very breathy for me, and I have to agree, I didn't hear your voice.
I really wanted to love your voice because I think you look cool. But I just don't think we can take you to the next stage.
He's just like the pop stars that already exist, and that's not what the show's going for. Ben is clearly devastated by this. He seemed like the perfect fit for a contest like this, and he just didn't cut it. A few more bad auditions later, and we get to the final few minutes of the episode, where Gareth faces the judges in his too big for him suit.
I have a stammer, so I'm finding it hard.
Sure, that's fine.
Take it easy, don't worry about it.
Just relax.
You can see how anxious he is, and he's struggling to even tell the judges his name.
My name is... Oh, come on, lad.
No, just take your time.
Gareth Gates.
Like Ben before him, Gareth is going to sing a Westlife song. And this is how Gareth does.
Everybody's looking for that something. Just one thing that makes it all complete. You find it in the strangest places. Places you never knew it could be.
Oh, am I going to get a library fine? Because these goosebumps are overdue. Gareth has such a lovely, angelic choir boy voice. The judges are floored.
And you do have a problem with your voice, I understand
Yeah.
that, but you don't have a problem with your singing voice.
Yeah, that's right.
You obviously you're being treated for your stammer, I presume.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah, I am.
You sing brilliantly.
Yeah.
You can struggle with words, just you don't struggle
Yeah,
when the words come with melody.
A person with a speech disorder can sing? They seem so surprised by this. Apart from Nikki, of course, because she sewed jeans in a nice top. She knew Gareth could do it, even name-dropping the legend himself.
I actually worked with an artist called Scatman, who was actually a musician first, and then he became a singer. And it was on BMG about 4 or 5 years ago.
yeah.
Had a huge hit throughout the whole of Europe and the UK. And he had a very bad stammer, and the way he got through it was by singing, and that's what the record was actually all about.
Yeah.
This was the moment Pop Idol became the show to watch. The viewers loved Gareth, and he instantly became the show's main protagonist. This was clickbait before there was clickbait. If this happened now, the title would be
This 17-year-old stammerer sang in front of Simon Cowell, and you won't believe what happened next.
The remaining audition episodes follow a more familiar format, focusing more on the good and bad performances in front of the judges. Performances of note include Rosie, whose rendition of Mariah Carey's Hero was so beautiful it brought Pete Waterman to tears.
So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong.
Rick, aka
This plus-sized man sang in front of Simon Cowell, and you won't believe what happened.
Oh, she may be weary, and young girls, they do get weary, wearing that same old shabby dress.
Fat people can sing too now? Since when? I'm learning so much. Sarah, who is so perfectly made to be a pop idol, it's like they accidentally put an All-Stars contestant in a regular season.
And I just can't hide it, no. And I know, I want you.
Zoe, who at just 16 years old already has the skill and confidence of a seasoned performer.
We'll always love you.
And of course, my laddie for another daddy.
How are you?
That's Darius! That Darius! Yes! Oh, I'm feeling so yellow right now. He asks if he can play his guitar in his audition, probably to prevent more of this.
Baby, one more.
But the judges say no.
There were kings and queens, followed by princes and princesses. There were future power people, flowing love to the loveless.
Despite that, Darius redeems himself and gets through to the next round, with a warning that he has to work on being less corny.
I'm going to make a suggestion, Darius, this is my own opinion, that if you were to go through to the next round, that you have possibly one more opportunity to try and lose your, and I'm going to say it bluntly, your corniness.
I disagree. I think he should lean so far into the corn he becomes a scarecrow. The whole process feels so small and low budget compared to future iterations of this format. There's no Glasgow love theme to convey an emotional backstory, or mean-spirited tuba music to hint we should laugh at the next person. They don't play for a moment like this when they put someone through to the next round. This is the one that sticks out the most to me though. The floor is marked with electrical tape, and at some point they realise that looks too cheap, so they rearrange the tape in the shape of a star. They want to have an even 100 contestants at boot camp, and they only have 99, so they just kind of automatically let the very last guy to audition through to make up the total.
My baby don't like dancing. I know that ain't a bad thing, but I don't get no loving, and that's no lie.
And I think it would have been hilarious if he was one of the horrendously bad singers and the other people at boot camp were trying to work out what the judges liked about him so much. He sings like a disgruntled moose. What does it mean? Should I sing like this? Is this the new trendy thing? What's going on? But sadly, Will is a good singer who performed well in his audition, so we'll never know how that social experiment would have gone. At least not until the lawful evil that is X Factor.
Everybody's moving, love shack, la la love shack.
Boot camp has similar teething issues. They put the contestants in 3 separate rooms to announce which ones are making the live shows, but the rooms are right next to each other and they can very clearly hear the reactions of the other groups, completely eliminating any element of surprise.
Congratulations, you're all through to the...
Everybody else in the other rooms would have heard this cheer. So both the rooms will be thinking, we're not going.
Otherwise, there's very little drama at boot camp. The judges have another philosophical debate about whether plus-sized people can be talented.
I want to talk about Rick, because this is going to be, I think, the most controversial one.
Okay.
And I'm going to play devil's advocate for the moment
Right.
on this, which is the pluses and minuses.
Okay.
The minus for me as a record company is that if Rick came into my office under normal circumstances with his weight, we wouldn't be jumping over him to offer him a recording contract.
Right.
There's this great bit of editing where Rick is talking about how much he likes and respects Pete Waterman, while Pete is in the other room exclaiming that Rick can never be a pop idol. It's impossible. You know the rules and so do I. Ultimately, Pete is overruled and Rick thankfully is part of the final 50 who make it through to the live shows. Now the public, who have been captivated by this show for months, can decide which contestants they want to see succeed. The producers clearly have their favourites in the likes of Gary, Sarah, Rick and Rosie, and they've done a good job of keeping their stories going and pushing them as viable winners. So all the British public need to do is listen to the narrative and vote accordingly. What could go wrong? The Pop Idol live heats took place over 5 weeks in the November and December of 2001. Now the viewers at home can call in and vote for their favourites each week to get through to the top 10.
This rehearsal room is where it's all going to happen tonight. One small stage, one small piano.
It's so interesting to watch the first ever Idol season and compare it to what these kinds of shows became. It's much more low-key. The contestants are introduced by walking off a bus. There's no big booming voice that says Rachel Adedeji or dramatic footage of the performers staring at us from a spotlit void. Get your act together looked more polished than this. What's going on ITV? The contestants sing on a tiny stage to a piano accompaniment, and when they're done they just get followed back to an undecorated green room to talk with Ant and Dec on a lumpy sofa. And then we just get to watch them in the background, contemplating that green room for the rest of the episode. And to make matters worse, Ant and Dec will just periodically go over to the green room computer to read the contestants' internet comments. That's just cruel.
We've got one here, very interesting one. You might like this one, you lot.
Stop! Stop! He's already dead.
Why did you do that? In the first heat, they do this awkward thing where the last contestant who performed has to swap seats with the next one to go. The showrunners very quickly realised their mistake and bought a new stool from IKEA for the incoming contestants to sit on for the rest of the heats. Fan favourite Gareth performs in this first heat, singing Flying Without Wings, the same song from his audition.
Everybody's looking for that something.
The judges love him, but start to wonder if he might be a bit of a one-trick pony.
I've sat here and tried to think of something I could add as a criticism. The only criticism I can even think of, which is banal really, is stop singing Westlife songs.
But there's nothing to worry about. Gareth gets through to the top 10 with a staggering 62% of the overall vote, with Zoe, the born performer, coming second after an impressive performance of Whitney Houston's One Moment in Time.
When I'm racing with destiny.
No one even comes close to Gareth's vote share in any of the other heats, and the bookies have him as the hot favourite to win the entire competition. Pete's favourite, Rosie, also does very well in week 3 and gains an impressive 51% of the vote to get through to the top 10. And it's not just the green room chairs that evolve during the heats. It's around this time that we get to see the mean judge persona of Simon Cowell. He has now seen himself on television. He saw how bored he looked at auditions, and now he's going to go in hard on these contestants. He wants to be the mean judge. Pete can't get all the attention. And Simon only gets meaner as the weeks go on. In week 4, he's so nasty to this guy Scott, it actually seems to shock everyone in the green room.
Close your eyes and think of me, and soon I will be there.
Actually, that's one of my favourite songs of all time. Not anymore. It was really awful. Honestly, it was bad. Tuneless, no emotion, and, you know, you had a chance to shine, you totally didn't.
Ant and Dec don't even know what to say. It's genuinely painful to watch.
That probably was the worst thing I've heard them say to anybody throughout the series. That must be awful.
And then you just see him trying to power through it for the rest of the episode. He was the first one to perform that week.
Welcome back to this evening's Pop Idol, where during the commercial break we've just been checking the old website there and checking your emails, and it would appear that the Prince of Darkness, Simon Cowell, is turning into a bit of a sex symbol.
Simon continues on his mean streak when the final performer of the night, Will, the 100th contestant guy, gives a genuinely great rendition of Light My Fire by The Doors that the other judges love, and Simon is so stinky about it.
Time to set the night on fire. Yeah, the time to hesitate is through.
William, this is where I put a shield up against you three. Distinctly average, I'm afraid.
Could you elaborate a bit more, please?
I just thought it was totally normal.
And then my girl Nikki begs Will to give Simon a piece of his mind.
Please don't take that.
No.
Please say something back to him.
And he does.
All of us have been dying to say things to you, and I've written about 10 things to say to you.
Well, I
not
just
for
spoke
you.
as I
Sorry,
felt, so you do the
did I
same.
finish?
Yeah.
Thank you. I think it's nice that you have given opinions in this show. I think in previous shows you haven't. You've just given projected insults, and it has been terrible to watch. I think this show, I think you have been better, and I think you have given opinions, and you've backed up your opinions, which is what the other three do, which is what I respect. It is your opinion. I don't agree with it. I don't think it was average. I don't think you could ever call that average.
And the rest of the contestants watch the monitor in disbelief. And then Will twirls and his dress goes on fire, and now he is the Mockingjay.
Come on, baby, light my fire.
And in fairness, Simon tips his fedora off to Will.
Very much.
You are a gentleman, sir.
Thank you.
And Will, who has been on nobody's radar up until now, sails through to the top 10 with a comfortable 41% of the vote. Obviously nowhere near our baby boy Gareth, but still, that nerve paid off. Rick makes it through to the top 10 in the final heat. But sadly, Darius doesn't quite make the cut, being number 3rd in the voting that week. Darius Dinesh was number 3rd in the voting. I could not believe it. It was good to see you again, Darius. I'm glad you got your redemption arc. The other shock elimination in the heats was Sarah, the All-Stars contestant. She seemed like such a shoo-in for the final. She is the reason we have wildcards on other talent shows now. The judges loved her so much and the audience just didn't connect with her as much as others. They were going to make sure that they never lost a Sarah ever again. Do you know what though? Sarah has a legacy. She created the wildcard, she ended up getting signed, she released music, she did alright. What an icon. And with that, Pop Idol had their top 10. Okay, so we have Aaron, Gareth, Hayley, Jessica, Corbin, Laura, Rick, Rosie, Will, and Zoe. And this is our final 10. This is when things get really interesting. No longer are the contestants singing on a milk crate spray painted silver. There's an actual set, created with an actual budget. They replaced the awkward green room with an awkward step clap, and I love it. Ant and Dec have to start the first episode with a couple of announcements. There's some unexpected changes that have had to be made for the final shows.
As you're probably aware, the voting system was going to change this week, and you were going to be voting for the contestant you wanted to eliminate.
However, we have to tell you that because of unscrupulous email campaigns by some people out there who've been attempting to hijack the vote,
which could have resulted in your favourite pop idols being eliminated,
you're going to vote in the way you have done in the past. You vote for your favourite. The person you want is your pop idol. Then we eliminate the person with the lowest vote.
So the original plan was to do a completely Big Brother format and vote which contestants you want out. It's not super clear to me how switching to a winner's vote brings back the scruples. My guess here is that people were getting a bit fed up with the tabloids and magazines frequently bigging up certain contestants, and that created a little bit of a backlash. And maybe there was some intention to retaliate by voting against the oversaturated favourites, aka Gareth and Rick. And speaking of Rick, the second announcement involves him.
Join us for a moment, please. Now, I'm sure you've all read about Rick in the papers this morning, so we'd just like to show the people at home, before you say anything, Rick, we just want to show all the people at home something we recorded at the beginning of this week. Have a look at this.
At the moment, I have a very bad throat. I did have a chest infection.
If you want to get an idea of how big Pop Idol was, one of the contestants had a sore throat and it made the news. It made the news! But luckily, Rick is given a week to recover with the aim of rejoining the competition in week 2. I've tried to put myself in Rick's shoes in this moment. I think I would be thinking, okay, I've been feeling unwell for a few days now, and I'm on strict vocal rest for another full week. I'm getting the best treatment money can buy. Chances are I'm going to be fine. I'm going to have the chance to see how my fellow competitors do this week and how the audience responds to them. I'm getting more time to adjust to this new environment. I'm going to be more well rested. I don't think I'd be too worried about any of this, honestly. I think this could even play to Rick's advantage. He's one of the favourites to win, and this is a dramatic new storyline for him. The theme for week 1 is pop idols. The contestants have to perform a song from their all-time favourite music artist. The good thing about this theme is that it helps you know a bit more about the musical taste of the contestants. Plus, they'll like and know the songs. It's more likely to be something in their vocal style. The bad thing about this week is that a lot of the contestants have already performed songs exclusively from their pop idols. This girl here with the sash belt, this is Jessica. We have only ever heard her sing Madonna. Zoe sang Whitney at auditions, Whitney in the Heats, and Whitney in this episode. This is Rosie's second go at Mariah Carey. Thankfully, Gareth had the good sense not to say his pop idols were Westlife, and he did a little bit of Bryan Adams in a billowing shirt. Smart boy. Will, continuing to grow on me, sings Aretha Franklin, and guys, I just love it when men sing girly songs. Brian Warbler singing You Think I'm Pretty Without Any Makeup On, that's just, yes, you are pretty without any makeup on. I agree. I wouldn't read too much into that. There are also some very 2001 choices. I have to wonder if Anastasia is still Hayley's all-time music idol. Hayley, if you're watching, let me know. Another lovely sash belt, by the way. Laura picks a Michael Jackson track and is essentially told she shouldn't have picked such a strong singer because she doesn't compare. Ouch. Aaron and Corbin both pick George Michael, which seems like a very risky move to me. Corbin in particular is heavily criticised for making the song his own.
And I have to say, I disagree with Pete. I did like the unique way you sang that song, you changing notes and stuff. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Good, thank you. So I think you know, maybe I think the public are going to disagree with the judges, so I wouldn't be too downhearted about it.
I hope so.
You took a song and changed the notes and made it unique and different? Ugh, get it out of my sight. Like, I don't get this. Sorry, what? Future contestants are going to be praised for putting their own stamp on songs, and Corbin's getting punished for doing the exact same thing. Like, he sings it well. And the worst thing about it, Corbin went home that week. I mean, I suspect it was more because he had this storyline where he was overly arrogant, but still, that was a weird critique to get. Corbin left the music industry behind and now has a successful career in cosmetics. In this article, The Sun described him as unrecognisable now, which... he just has different hair now, guys, relax. They did not understand you, Corbin. I'm really sorry about that. Oh wow, these are really good post-it notes. They did not understand you, Corbin. I'm sorry about that. The second week is Christmas week, and this is how I know they hadn't anticipated the success of Pop Idol yet. There's no finalist charity single, the winner's song won't be in the running to be Christmas #1, and these are the mistakes that will get corrected over time. There's just something kind of refreshing about how non-presumptive the show is about its own success and the success of the contestants. Just 1 year after this, Pop Idol's chaotic evil step-cousin Popstars The Rivals will run on the premise that the two winning pop bands will battle for Christmas #1. Man, I have so much to say about Popstars The Rivals. Another day. Having a Christmas-themed episode so early in the live shows feels a bit off, but it's nice to have Rick back now that he's feeling better. Well... okay. I have just been informed that Rick is not feeling better. His laryngitis has not gone away and he is withdrawing from the show. This was shocking. Rick was one of the favourites to win, and I genuinely think he could have. He was the second favourite after Gareth, and quite frankly, he has a stronger, more adaptable singing voice than Gareth. The Theme of the Week format probably would have suited his skill set more, as he could successfully adapt to more styles of music. I can't imagine what this must have been like for Rick, coming so close and have it taken away for circumstances beyond your control. Rick Waller was signed to EMI and released 2 top 40 singles. His cover of Dolly Parton's I Will Always Love You hit number 6 on the UK charts. In 2002, he appeared on Celebrity Fit Club, a reality show about helping the contestants achieve weight loss. Rick was removed from the show after it was revealed that he was severely restricting before weigh-ins and then binge eating afterwards, which was labelled cheating by the press. A show that's supposed to be about supporting people with their disordered eating habits kicked off a contestant for showing disordered eating habits. Guys, why do you think people struggle with their weight? Do you think it's just because they're lazy and stupid and need to be told off? Yes, that is exactly what they thought. The early 2000s, man. Rick was released from EMI and became an exam invigilator. I find this paragraph on his Wikipedia page strangely haunting. Well, that was very shocking. So Rick's out, and that sucks. He was really talented, and I think he had good taste in music. I would love to know who his pop idol would have been on week 1. So we're down a contestant. But not to worry, Rick's spot is given to the contestant who came third in his heat. Wait. Number 3rd in the voting? That means... my boy! Darius! And he has a new haircut, he's looking sharp. And Darius isn't the only thing that's back this week. It's the emergency green room still. God bless us, everyone. And Darius has a pretty good week, giving a very charismatic rendition of When a Child is Born. Things go into the danger zone a bit when he does the Westlife stand from the emergency green room stool and hits this note. But otherwise, Darius gets a second chance and performs well enough to get through to week 3. Zoe finally breaks free from Whitney Houston and is given a Mariah Carey song instead. Not a massive change of pace, but she sings it well. Gareth is boy band perfect with a sweet cover of Wham's Last Christmas.
This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special.
This is the first week I've noticed that Will's signature move is petting his invisible pony. Rosie is given a more up-tempo song this week, and it's not her best performance. It's a bit all over the place.
Think of all the fun I've missed. Think of all the fellas that I haven't kissed.
Laura has another poor vocal performance, but she's so bubbly and charming, it's kind of hard not to root for her. But it's Jessica who gets the lowest number of votes this week. I don't think she had the worst vocal, I think she was just a victim of the popularity contest aspect of the show. Other contestants had more fans behind them, so Jessica trailed behind. The original plan to vote out the worst contestant probably would have given Jessica more of an advantage. She's a perfectly lovely singer and doesn't have any big drama to put people off her. The voting rules really hurt the Jessicas of the world, and I say this as a Jessica. Most of us are Jessicas, let's be real. Jessica Garlick represented the United Kingdom in 2002's Eurovision Song Contest, where she placed 3rd. In this article, The Sun described her as unrecognisable now, which, no! She looks even more the same than Corbyn did, what are you talking about? Week 3 is the first of the Idol shows to have a week dedicated to the songs of one musical artist. And who in the year of our Lord 2001 did Pop Idol choose as the first musician to have a week dedicated to them? If you said Burt Bacharach, you looked it up, didn't you?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Burt Bacharach.
What the world needs now.
I like Burt Bacharach. He's a very out there choice for a pop show.
Do you know the way to San Jose?
The first season of American Idol also did an ode to Burt Bacharach. Who is the Burt Bacharach stan in the Idol production team? My guess is Simon Fuller. No proof, just vibes. Burt Bacharach week isn't super exciting. Rosie has another poor week with That's What Friends Are For and lands in the bottom 2 alongside Aaron, and it's ultimately Aaron who goes home. Aaron Bailey is still in the music industry and performs with a functions band across the northeast of England. He seems book blessed and busy, so good for him. Good on you, Aaron. Week 4 is movie week, and it's one of my favourites for good performances. In particular, I want to draw attention to Hayley's version of Show Me Heaven. It's beautiful.
I'm not tonight. We're flying above it all. Hold my hand, don't let me fall.
Hayley's been a bit of a dark horse in the competition so far, but all her performances have been very good, and you can see her rise up the ranks as the weeks go on. This is one of my favourites of the whole series. The standout in movie week is Will, singing Ain't No Sunshine. His arm is flat by his side for most of the song and you think he's not going to pat the pony, but then the music takes over and the pony gets all the pats.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone.
Zoe was originally supposed to sing The Power of Love by Jennifer Rush, but the day before the live show someone realised that it's never been in a film. Like, they thought it was in Back to the Future and it turns out they were just a bit confused. So Zoe has to switch to Street Life instead, and I think that was an excellent idea. Because we know Zoe can do these big belty ballads. She's a young, energetic, expressive performer. Let her show off that side. She has so much personality in this performance. I am so glad Power of Love wasn't in a movie. Laura has another not great week. I think they're giving her songs that don't suit her. A lot of them force her into her lower register, and Laura's bubbly and light. She's not the strongest singer there, but they're not doing her any favours either. Rosie lands in the bottom two again alongside Laura, and it's Laura who goes home. Laura Doherty is from Derry, date of birth 1982, making her the year of the dog. After Pop Idol, Laura trained as a dance teacher. You can also buy this birthday card with her face on it. This isn't part of a wider Pop Idol series of cards, it's just Laura. It's tagged as a funny Irish card, so this might be one of those Irish jokes that I'm too Scottish to understand. If anyone wants to enlighten me, I would appreciate it. Then again, if I had to think of a young woman from Derry who was on a singing competition in the early 2000s to be on a card celebrating someone's birth... Oh, excuse me. Oh, that was weird. Sorry, someone's date of birth. Yeah, I can't really think of anyone other than Laura.
Laura, I would like to see you back on our screens. You seem delightful. Oh, really good post-its. Really strong.
I think Laura would have been a great TV personality, I just don't think she was a pop singer. Week 5 is ABBA week, and I'm excited for this because I love ABBA. It's me from the future. ABBA week was terrible. No one sounds good on ABBA week. It turns out ABBA songs are really, really hard to sing. Okay, there's a few things going on here. First of all, ABBA songs are very musically complex. Benny and Bjorn are very skilled composers and they utilise interesting song structures and chord sequences. Ironically, ABBA don't write a lot of ABA songs. 2. Frida and Agnetha are beautiful singers. They both have strong, clear as a bell voices and they're not super showy because they don't need to be. 3. Benny and Bjorn are big on wall of sound. Multiple vocal tracks are layered on top of each other, making it almost like you're hearing a choir. As a result, when soloists cover ABBA songs, they often sound quite empty and small. And I think a lot of the contestants were just straight up given the wrong song. Not everyone, but most. And as a fully fledged ABBA stan, I would like to give some suggestions from 20 Years Too Late.
All of those great romances.
Gareth sings One of Us. It's really cute, I wouldn't change this. I am so glad they resisted the temptation to give him I Have a Dream. It was a good instinct.
I've seen you twice in a short time.
Will gets The Name of the Game. It's also a good choice for him. The Name of the Game is just a slowed down version of I Wish by Stevie Wonder. I said what I said. So it's in Will's comfort zone. Darius gets I Have a Dream, and it's such a wasted opportunity to not give him Does Your Mother Know? I Have a Dream is too dull for someone as engaging as Darius. He's not feeling grey, he's feeling purple or orange or something.
If you change your mind, I'm the first in line.
Hayley sings Take a Chance on Me, and I feel she needed something cool and sexy like Summer Night City or Gimme 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 A Man After Midnight.
So I say thank you for the music, the songs I'm singing.
Zoe sings Thank You for the Music and she looks so adorable. You can tell she's had theatre experience here, and I would have just given her something less dirgy. She's 16, why are you giving her these ploddy songs? I think they should have kept the momentum from Movie Week going with something peppy like Honey Honey or Ring Ring.
I don't wanna talk about the things we've gone through.
I would have given Rosie either something where she can throw in some of her melisma like Chiquitita, or a song where she can move between her mix and her head voice like Tiger. Instead, she gets the winner takes it all and... Rosie started off the show as the singer whose voice was so beautiful it made Pete Waterman cry, to struggling more and more as the live shows went on. Why? Pop Idol's format forces these singers to be extremely versatile, which is not a requirement to be a pop star. You can stay in your musical lane and excel there forever. Rosie has a great pop voice for breathy ballads with lots of runs in them, and week after week she's trying her best to get her style to work with the theme to mixed results. After Idol, Rosie Ribbons was signed to a 5-album deal with Telstar Records. Her debut single Blink peaked at number 12 in the UK charts and is an absolute bop. Rosie is so plausible as a pop star here, and I rank Blink as the third best song to come out of Pop Idol.
As soon as I blink, you're playing around.
Rosie was released from her contract early, and in 2007 she competed on Australian Idol, where she reached the live heats. In this article, The Sun describes her as unrecognisable now and... hold on. Hello, The Sun? Yeah, it's Jen. I think one of your feature writers should get tested for propagnosia. I'm just a concerned citizen. Rosie, I still bop to Blink. I think you're a star. One of the things I find really noticeable in the top 10 is how little the judges matter at this point. They don't actually do anything, they just exist to be larger than life characters. The audience have all the voting power, and they don't always align with the opinions of Simon and the gang. Simon in particular gets so starved of attention that he starts mini dramas with the other judges, usually Pete, because Pete's grumpy.
Hang on, I need to get in here. Hang on a minute. Simon, you must have something in your ears, mate, because that was as close as I have ever...
Pete,
I have watched this kid.
We criticise
his vocals
people,
tonight
but-
were brilliant.
but we were
Sorry, I sat here.
Pete.
He is amazing.
And the point was I tried to make tonight, before Mr. Snappy butted in, was...
I think that...
disagree, didn't you, Pete?
Yeah, because I think that it says here, Pop Idol, not Teen Idol. You know, you don't understand Darius. We've had this conversation. I didn't come with any baggage with Darius. I've watched this kid grow. He was as good as Nat King Cole tonight.
if you think-
I thought he was brilliant. And I think the people sitting at home, you know, they listen and they just hear what they like. And they don't like everything to be up-tempo.
Pete, you are talking...
We have to... Hang on a minute.
There's even a mini controversy where he swears at Pete, which of course makes the news! Future iterations of this format will give judges more to do by giving them more personal stakes in the contestants. They're not just judges, but mentors, taking on a group of contestants and helping them with their brand, styling, song choice and performances. Because heaven forbid the talent get to be the primary focus of a talent show. They even get final voting powers in case the audience get it wrong and don't let the production team's clear favourites win. Justice for Sarah. But I'm sure that won't be an issue on Pop Idol. Week 6 is Big Band Week, which becomes a staple of the TV talent show. It's like the Go-Sees in Top Model or Snatch Game in Drag Race. It's seen as sorting the pros from the nose. We've reached the top 5. No, wait. Did I forget to take down Jessica? I forgot to take down Jessica. I don't even... No, like, this is what I mean though. Like, she would have done really well in the vote out system because I left her on the board for like 4 weeks. Oh, yeah. Oh no. I'm so sorry, Jessica. I thought you were fab in Eurovision. I think it's really cool that Amy Winehouse knew who you were. We've reached the top 5, and at this point I think any of the contestants could be viable winners. All pros, no nos. They could all sweep Bread Week. They could all make a lion out of baguettes. I believe in them. This is a much needed reversal from ABBA Week. Everyone does well here. All the song choices are great.
Forget your troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away.
First up is Zoe singing Get Happy, and this is another series highlight and easily Zoe's best performance. She looks like a pop star, she sounds like a pop star, she is a pop star, look at her! Her stage experience shines through here and she looks so confident and in control. And this might not have even happened if Power of Love was in a movie! Zoe belongs on the West End, she is a born performer. Gareth goes next singing Mac the Knife. He's got a little bit of choreography this week and it's slightly awkward. Gareth doesn't have the performance skills that Zoe has, but you can see where there's room to grow and clearly the audience and judges love him.
That is because we can now turn back.
Gareth and Zoe were the youngest competitors in the show and the only two still school-aged at the time. It becomes increasingly apparent that they've bonded a lot over the competition and provide a lot of emotional support for one another. There was some speculation at the time that maybe Zoe and Gareth could have been more than just friends, and we will talk about it because we found out what was happening during this show, and it is not what you think. Whoa!
There may be trouble ahead.
Darius sings Let's Face the Music and Dance, which if you told me was specifically written for Darius, I would believe you. Big band is such a good fit for him.
Let's face the music and dance.
I know you so well. I can tell by the sound of your voice if you're really in love with me.
Will gets the incredibly suave intro to We Are in Love. This is the week I totally buy Will as a pop star.
You know I cannot lie.
It's that old devil called love again.
Hayley sings a lovely rendition of Old Devil Called Love. She looks gorgeous, she's so captivating. She only seems to sing for about 30 seconds. I don't know if it's just that the version on YouTube is edited to be shorter, but Hayley's performance is half the length of everyone else's. Also, Hayley goes home this episode. We're at the point now where no one deserves to go home, but someone has to, and it was just Hayley's turn. She is the sugar cane of Pop Idol.
Telling me that I'm the lucky one again.
After Idol, Hayley Evatt worked steadily as a TV presenter, including the after show for chaotic evil step-cousin pop stars The Rivals. She appeared in several stage shows, including Grease and Thriller, until a back injury prevented her from performing. In 2012, she auditioned for X Factor, making it through to the boot camp stage.
I'm Hayley Evatt, I'm 36 and I'm from Birmingham. I decided to apply for the X Factor because I did quite a similar show many years ago.
Her fan page is hosted by Tripod and hasn't been updated since 2004, and it is a wonderful blast of nostalgia. Please visit it. When I think about the future iterations of the Pop Idol format and how much of a money-making machine they became, I think a lot about Hayley, who would have probably gotten a lot more out of finishing 5th on X Factor in 2012 than she did on Pop Idol in 2002. She would have been given a unique brand, she would have been part of the charity single, they would have recorded her weekly songs for streaming, she would have gotten some royalties at least. Yes, while it is greed that motivates the packaging and selling of every aspect of these shows, it does offer the contestants some financial protection that they didn't have back then. These contestants are very, very relevant for a very, very short period of time. Hayley doesn't even have the modern benefit of using that recognition for social media influence. I now follow Hayley on Instagram. She still sings, she still sounds amazing, and I feel like if anyone from this season of Pop Idol deserves more than they got, it's her. Hayley, I love your version of Show Me Heaven. You truly are a Pop Idol. The quarter-finalists are Darius, Gareth, Will and Zoe. And from now on they're singing 2 songs a week and they need to introduce their own songs. There was a micro-drama about whether Gareth would be able to introduce his songs because if you remember, Gareth has quite a significant stammer. And it feels really rubbish to use a teenage boy's speech impediment to create drama for your TV show. Come on, guys. Gareth sings Wake Me Up Before You Go Go and then introduces his next song, Unchained Melody. He starts to say he wants to dedicate the song to his mum, but isn't able to get the words out and the music quickly starts over him.
Wait for me.
He recovers and very professionally segues into the song.
I'm flowing overgrown with bliss. There must be an angel.
Will continues on his suave streak and very effortlessly moves from There Must Be an Angel into Night Fever. He even throws in a little joke about his fashion sense. It's very likeable.
Thank you very much. The next song I'm going to sing is by the Bee Gees. It's called Night Fever, and I'm not wearing flares.
And as I told you on Pop Stars, I'll be back. Hasta la vista.
This is the week they finally figured out Darius. This is peak Darius. He bumps his hips to Tom Jones and then gives a commencement speech about Atomic Kitten.
It happens every day. No matter what you say. Why can't this crazy love be mine? Ladies and gentlemen, Natasha from Atomic Kitten. One thing that I didn't do last time I sang a female song was ask the permission of the original songstress. So, Natasha, do I have permission to sing Whole Again?
You certainly do. Take it away.
Thank you. Baby, you're the one. You still tell me on. You can make me whole again.
At auditions, the judges warned Darius that he had to find a way to be less corny. The show has finally realised their efforts are futile and let Darius's cornfield flourish. It's great. He's my favourite this week.
Clock strikes upon the hour and the sun begins to fade.
Zoe scares me for a second by announcing she's going to sing some Whitney Houston, but thankfully it's upbeat 80s Whitney and not slow ballad Whitney. And then Zoe introduces her next song.
Thank you very much. The next song I'm going to sing is Power of Love. I hope you enjoy it.
Oh no. But you died. I saw them kill you. So yeah, Zoe goes home this week.
Zoe, you're going home. Could you come join us, please?
Gareth in particular is devastated by Zoe's departure. They keep cutting to close-ups of him crying like it's a green room crisis. Like Hayley before her, Zoe didn't deserve to leave, but no one else did either. After Idol, Zoe Burkett signed with 19 Management, releasing her first single, Treat Me Like a Lady, in January 2003, a full year after her appearance on Pop Idol. Her team struck while the iron was stone cold, and her music career didn't quite take off. Instead, Zoe found success on the stage, appearing in several West End productions, including The Bodyguard, which honestly might just be the role Zoe was born to play. She was also on Series 15 of Big Brother. I follow her on TikTok and she's always doing lives, and I've just never had the confidence to say hi to her, but hi Zoe. Hi Zoe. I love your lives. The semi-final week is judges' choices. They pick the songs this week, which I thought they were always picking the songs. Really, the judges just did nothing, didn't they? They just sat there and did nothing. I can see why they changed that slightly. Okay.
We get it almost every night.
Darius, now having reached his final form, swaggers around the stage singing Dancing in the Moonlight. He seems so free, like the Darius he was always meant to be.
Dancing in the moonlight, everybody's feeling warm and bright. It's such a fine and natural sight.
You'll find it in the strangest places, places you never knew it could be.
Gareth is given Flying Without Wings, which he has now performed on this show 3 times. What I will say for Gareth is that you can see the progression in his confidence. He looks far less frightened than he used to.
So you have Gareth, who is not as confident as Will, who in turn is not as confident as Darius. This is the sliding scale of confidence. How confident are you on a scale of Gareth to Darius? I'm not on the scale. I'm a Jessica.
Will is given the sweetest feeling and he just knocks it out of the park. I think Will is very good at working out how to make a song suit his voice, that thing that Rosie struggled with quite a bit. He's smart enough to know that if he does the high note like Jackie Wilson, then he's going to ruin it, so he does a more comfortable one instead. Like, check it out. But someone has to go. I don't want anyone to go. No one wants anyone to go. But only 2 can be in the grand finale. The votes are counted, and the first one through to the final is Gareth. And competing in the final with Gareth is Will. Which means Darius goes home, having emerged from his cornhusk cocoon into a golden butterfly. The comeback kid just kept coming back. After Idol, Darius Campbell Dinesh was offered several recording contracts, turning down Simon Cowell in favour of Universal Music. His debut album Drive-In went certified platinum, and his debut single Colourblind shot to #1 in the summer of 2002. And Colourblind is an absolute tune. It was on my Spotify Wrapped last year.
Nobody told me it feels so good. Nobody said you'd be so beautiful.
Darius sings about how he feels all the different colours. We love an emotionally articulate king. For a long time I thought there was a shade of green called Sublime. Like a muted lime, because he sings I had the privilege of seeing Darius perform at the Irn-Bru Live and Loud Festival in Glasgow, and he got such a hometown hero's welcome. It was brilliant. Darius went on to have a prolific career in theatre, starring in a number of West End shows including Funny Girl, Guys and Dolls and Chicago. On the 11th of August 2022, Darius died in Rochester, Minnesota. Colourblind has been streamed almost 20 million times on Spotify, and in the week following his death reached #2 on the UK charts. He was 41 years old.
Colourblind is an absolute treasure, Darius. You will always belong to Glasgow.
In the week leading up to the grand finale, Pop Idol fever swept the nation. Campaign buses for Team Gareth and Team Will travelled up and down the country. Both contestants went on a week-long press tour, creating manifestos for why the public should vote for them. On the night of the final episode, bookies still confidently pinned Gareth as the favourite to win with 2-5 odds compared to Will's 7-4. Both finalists recorded the winner's single, a double A-side of Evergreen and Anything Is Possible. Evergreen is a cover of a Westlife song, reminiscent of Bryan Adams' Everything I Do. Anything Is Possible is a classic winner song, written specially for the show by the same songwriting duo responsible for S Club 7's Have You Ever. And it's essentially the same song again. The sweet bubblegum pop ballads were clearly meant to favour the singing style of Gareth.
I never thought I could be feeling this way.
Both contestants sing the tracks live during the finale alongside their favourite song from the series. Will chooses Light My Fire, the song that made Will stand up to Simon for calling him distinctly average.
There's no time to wallow in the mire. Try now, we can only lose.
Gareth sings Unchained Melody, the song he wanted to dedicate to his mum during the quarterfinals.
Oh, my love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch.
The winner's songs suit Gareth perfectly. They were absolutely designed for him in mind. His journey to this point is told like a Cinderella story. The schoolboy who struggled to speak but could make his voice soar in song. It's a genuinely beautiful story, and Gareth has shown himself to be a lovely kid whose dreams were coming true. It's a real-life fairy tale. He has the story, but he's not as good a singer or performer as Will.
Anything is possible, possible when you believe. It's possible to spread my wings.
Will is a few years older than Gareth. He knows his voice and his music style really well. He's a much more confident performer, but we don't know that much about him. There's this bit in the quarter-final episode where the final four are at a press junket and the journalists are asking them questions, and Will is asked which celebrity he fancies. He deflects the question.
Rumours and speculation about your love life. And if you could go on a date with any celebrity, who would it be?
I'd like, you know, it's really sad, but I'd quite like to have supper with the Queen. I think she'd be really interesting.
And part of that is that the publicity team at Pop Idol asked Will not to come out as gay or confirm that to any journalists until after Pop Idol was over, which put him in a really awkward spot. The 2000s, man. So we have Gareth, who doesn't have as much skill, but he has the story. And we have Will, who doesn't have as much story, but he has the skill. So who wins? 8.7 million votes were cast that night, which still remains the highest number of votes ever made for a TV show in the UK. For context, 26 million people voted in the 2001 general election. And yeah, you can vote more than once on Pop Idol and there's not an age limit, but still, those numbers are something else. Ant and Dec have the two finalists stand by, waiting for confirmation on the winner.
The winner of Pop Idol 2002 is Will!
Will Young, a 22-year-old student, defied all odds to win Pop Idol, earning 53% of the final vote. He won the grand prize of a £1 million recording contract. His double A-side became the fastest selling debut in UK history and the biggest selling song of the decade. But was it real? We've all become really cynical about reality TV. We know there's a narrative, we know it's fake, but there's this part of me that wants Pop Idol to be real, for it to be pure and simple. So the narrative of the first season of Pop Idol is that Will Young defied the odds, fighting for his spot against a judges panel and production team who so heavily favoured his rival to come out on top and win the whole thing to the ire of Simon Cowell, who never believed in him. But we all know reality TV is fake and manipulative. Like, when you watch Britain's Got Talent, they already knew that Susan Boyle could sing. The producers already saw her, they knew. They're playing that mean-spirited Rumpty-Tumpty bad performance music to make you think she's going to be bad too, because you have been watching reality TV shows like this for half a decade, and that's the music they play to cue a bad performer. And then the show has the audacity to be like, Oh, you thought she was going to do badly, didn't you? You judged that woman. You're a bad person. Oh, sorry for being media literate. I am just receiving the messages in the way you have conditioned me to receive them. I learned it from you, Dad. But they didn't have mean-spirited Dumpty Bad performance music in Pop Idol. It wasn't invented yet. Was this genuinely a David and Goliath story come to life? Was there really a Simon versus Will thing going on? Was it real? I've crunched the numbers and looked at the arguments from both sides in a game I like to call Real or No Real. Part 1, starting with the obvious. It's reality TV. Of course it's not real. And TV producers know how much the public love an underdog story. The unlikely winner getting more votes than the judge's heavily favoured choice, that's a classic tale. Counterpoint. Pop Idol already had an underdog story. Gareth was their underdog. Remember Dragon Ball Ben? The obvious pop star versus shy little Gareth? And if you need a second underdog to be the underdog to your underdog, Pop Idol has one of those too, dog. Rick! The Will standing up to Simon thing happened before Rick got laryngitis and had to pull out of the show. Point 2. Evergreen is a Gareth Gates song.
And I wonder why you look at me like that.
They could have picked any song, but they picked a Westlife song that sounds like a Bryan Adams song.
Look into my eyes like a sunrise, like a rainfall down to my soul.
Counterpoint. Every Winner's song sounds like a Gareth Gates song. That's just how Winner's songs sound. Point 3. Drama equals viewers equals phone calls equals sales. Simon Cowell clearly enjoys being a villain, and he knows how to make good television. Voting for Will to spite Simon Cowell doesn't actually spite Simon Cowell. Pop Idol's still getting all the money. Counterpoint. Simon Cowell is a bad actor, and we've seen him pretend to dislike a competitor in order to keep them in the competition, and it's an obvious act. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have 2 words, an abbreviation and a portmanteau for you. Lucy Jones versus Jedward. In 2009, the 6th season of X Factor was well underway. Among the acts were Lucy Jones, who had a lovely singing voice but often got lost behind the big personalities she was competing with that season. Oh, she's such a Jessica. And John and Edward, aka Jedward, were twin brothers who seemed like cartoon characters brought to life. Over the top, camp, obnoxious and barely singing throughout the competition. But they were compelling television and little kids loved them. On Movie Week, both Lucy and Jedward wound up in the bottom 2, with the judges voting on who to save. The other judges voted 2 against 1 to save Lucy. Simon, who had made no secret of how much he hated Jedward and found them annoying, hummed and hawed.
The name of the act you're sending home tonight.
Well, tricky one.
John and Edward, you know, we've had some horrific performances. Having said that, who would I rather see again?
So, Simon, name of the act you're sending home tonight, please. Make a decision. I need an answer, Simon.
Do it again.
Simon, I need an answer.
I am going to let the public decide.
And Simon saved Jedward over Lucy. And it's very clear that it's no real. X Factor is lawful evil and 100% not real. Simon versus Will on Pop Idol? It's not so clear. Point 4. Everyone involved still insists it was real. It seems like Simon and Will genuinely dislike each other, even to this day. In a 2012 documentary, Simon said, "I still to this day can't watch the final back because I was really disappointed. I really liked Gareth and I wanted him to win. And that has to be true because I said Simon said before I said it." Will had this to say in a 2015 interview. "He really doesn't like me and continues to slag me off. I'm like, why? You've got to ask the question, why do you want to hang on to that?" Counterpoint. That's showbiz, baby. Celebrities fake feuds all the time. Britney and Christina were childhood friends. They didn't hate each other, but it sells records. While the Pop Idol finale was airing, ITV were already developing a new talent show whose entire premise was built upon the idea of feuding pop bands. And it was so chaotic, and we will talk about it another day. Point 5. Simon and Will had already met. In 1999, 2 years before Pop Idol, Will auditioned to be in a boy band on a This Morning segment, and one of the judges was none other than Simon Cowell.
Sing Jackson 5, I'll Be There.
I'll be there. Industry plant, anyone? Nepo baby much? Highly sus, no cap. All facts, no printer. Counterpoint. Simon Cowell can't remember / doesn't care about the contestants. There was this time on X Factor when Louis Walsh directly asked Simon to name the members of the band he has been mentoring for months, and he can't do it. I tried to Google the instant I was thinking of, and it turns out Simon's done this a whole bunch of times. He can't name band members, he can't name bands, he can't name the band's single, he doesn't care. He's not going to remember that guy from a This Morning bit 2 years later, of course he's not. Point 6. The Heat magazine book. Heat is a celebrity gossip magazine that my mum would get delivered every week, and I'd always read it after she was done. If you want the tea on any UK celebrity between 2005 and 2009, I have it. You want to know about Kerry Katona and Jodie Marsh? I'm your girl. Anyway, in 2009, the former editor-in-chief of Heat magazine, Mark Thrift, wrote a book about his experience, and my mum got it as a stocking filler for Christmas. And when she was done, I read it too, and there are a whole bunch of entries in it about Pop Idol.
Friday, 26th of April. Met up with Simon Cowell and Pete Waterman this morning. It's the first time I've seen them since Will Young's surprise Pop Idol victory, and all three of us are still raging about the result. Waterman, who seems to spend his entire life getting heated about something, is the angriest of the lot. He's grumpy! I told you! The conversation gets particularly heated when he alleges, to anyone who'll listen, that the result was due to some kind of middle-class conspiracy against the nation's proletariat. Cowell is far more philosophical. Pete, calm down. Simon, counters Waterman, I don't feel very calm. Simon ploughs on between drags of his cigarette. It's not the end of the story. Gareth will end up the bigger star. Trust me. Tuesday, 14th of May. Interviewed Simon Cowell on stage at an ITV conference this afternoon. Off stage he's his usual candid self, especially when I tell him what's happened this morning. Why do you think Will Young seems to hate you and me? He tells me, it must be because we supported Gareth. So it's a grudge. This could get interesting.
Do you know what? I asked my mum if I could borrow her copy of this book, and she's like, oh, I threw that out years ago, so I had to buy it again. This book came out in 2009. No one cares about Pop Idol anymore apart from me. Why would Mark Thrift, former editor-in-chief of Heat magazine, make this up? Or, even weirder, why would a record executive and the inventor of the Rickroll put on this act for the editor-in-chief at Heat magazine? It wasn't even published in the magazine at the time. It came out in a book 7 years later. I am the only one who still cares about this. I choose to believe that it's real. Pop Idol was the first piece of media that made me feel culturally connected. I was too young for the news or politics. I don't follow sports. But I was a theatre kid. And seeing other theatre kids living their dreams and being celebrated was exciting to me. I think Pop Idol is a neutral evil show. Not as evil as X Factor and not as chaotic as Popstars The Rivals. By the way, all these shows are automatically in the evil alignment. But Pop Idol might be the least evil of all. It was a show that had to learn as it went. And learn they did. They ran to IKEA and picked up an emergency green room stool. They found out that Jennifer Rush's Power of Love wasn't in Back to the Future. They stopped reading the contestants' internet comments when they were already at their lowest point. Why did they do that? They turned the duct tape into a star. And if that isn't a perfect metaphor for this amazing cultural reset of a show, I don't know what is. So what happens when Pop Idol ends? Simon Cowell, of course, signs up Gareth Gates. Gareth's first single, a cover of Unchained Melody, flies to #1 and goes double platinum. Gareth releases 7 singles between 2002 and 2003, and they all hit the top 5. 4 of them go to #1, 3 of them go platinum, and then it just stops. It's like he goes from Pop Idol to Pop Idol.
And I couldn't for the life of me remember why. And then I started reading more of Mark Thrift's book. Sunday, 13th of October. Drama. Jordan has given an interview to today's News of the World where she says that she had an affair with nice clean-cut Gareth Gates earlier this year when she was 6 months pregnant. It seems bizarre. He is a shy, awkward guy with a stammer. A stammer, it's different. And she is a ballsy motor mouth. If she's lying, this will come back at her in a pretty big way. But then, why would she lie? Why would she lie? Why would she make that up? Why would you make up sleeping with a 17-year-old when you're 24? That'd be weird.
It was during Gareth's time on Pop Idol when he met glamour model Katie Price, known back then as Jordan.
Is it cold in here or is it just my nipples?
They had a fling for a few months while Pop Idol was happening. Gareth was 17, Katie was 24 and pregnant with her first child. Katie went on to sell that story to the press. Gareth vehemently denied the story and Katie was vilified for lying. Not for pursuing a 17-year-old and sharing the details of his sex life to the press for money against his wishes. No, it was the making it up that's the bad part here. He's 17, he's just finished his A-levels. You're a woman in your mid-20s who's about to become a mum, selling intimate details about this teenager's life to the tabloids. No, this is not it. It's not it. This isn't. There's a clown in the story, but it's not it. And the way she talks about it to the papers is so humiliating and cruel. It serves no purpose other than to shame this kid. The story didn't die. For months, Katie would keep insisting that it happened. The story kept popping up in celebrity gossip magazines, with Katie trying to clear her name while being painted as a villain for trying to ruin Gareth's reputation for attention. Gareth continued to deny it, and people believed him because he was sweet little Gareth Gates from Pop Idol. But Gareth eventually had to come clean in the summer of 2003. Pop Idol star Gareth Gates has admitted that he did have a relationship with busty glamour girl Jordan. This article, oh my god. The stammering singing sensation had previously denied a liaison with the topless model, despite her own confessions to a tabloid newspaper. I have never spoken about my personal relationships with anyone and had no intention of doing so until now. I was 17 years old and had just moved from Bradford to London when, to be honest, I was pursued by her. I was bemused as to why she went to the press with it, as I see relationships as private. That was the very reason I didn't talk about it. I was embarrassed by what was said and didn't want my family to find out about it this way. They obviously know now, as I've been very open with them. Jordan expressed anger that his constant denials were making her look stupid. I don't think that's what's making you look stupid, my love. Jordan, 25, said the details of her relationship would feature in her autobiography. Obviously, Gareth's admission is no surprise to me. He's lied to an awful lot of people. Nothing has changed, and I don't wish to say any more. Because all the details will be in the book, she said. I mean, props for the business savvy. This completely destroyed the good boy image the public had of Gareth. A teenage boy thrust into sudden fame and admiration was pursued by a glamour model and he went along with it? Never. Should he have said no comment instead of lying about it? Sure. But is he the bad guy in this situation? I don't think he is. Both parties have since spoken about this with regret. Gareth seems to see this as learning about the pitfalls of fame the hard way. In 2006, a documentary was made about Gareth called Whatever Happened to Gareth Gates. From the present day, 2006 doesn't look that far away from 2002, when Gareth was a superstar. But 2006 was the year Leona Lewis won X Factor, and Pop Idol already feels like a bygone era. The landscape changed really quickly, and Gareth got left behind. He's still only 22 in this documentary. He's the same age Will was when he won Pop Idol, and he seems so world-weary. He's being framed as this washed-up has-been, that this is his last chance to make a comeback, and it's nonsense in hindsight. He's a baby! Look at him! Gareth does carve a career for himself after this. He releases a couple more singles that both hit the top 40. He was on Dancing on Ice, and he's appeared in several West End shows. But the coolest thing for Gareth is that he became a qualified speech coach and helps others with their stammers. And that's awesome! When Gareth's waiting to give his first audition for Pop Idol, he's asked what he would do if he became a famous pop star.
I really want to help people who are who are really in need. So if I was to become famous, then I'd be able to do that, obviously.
And that's what he did. And I hope you can see that, because it's really awesome. Will Young has had 12 top 10 hits. His winner single went triple platinum, and by all accounts, he hates it. He refuses to sing Anything Is Possible. It's almost like it wasn't created with him in mind. My dad really liked Will Young's first album, so I would hear it a lot as a kid. He had like 20 songs on his mini-disc, and 2 of them were Will's versions of Ain't No Sunshine and Light My Fire. They were special. They made the mini-disc. Will's biggest international hit was on his second album, Friday's Child. Leave Right Now charted across Europe, Australia and the United States and was a regular mainstay on the music video channels. My favourite Will Young song also comes from that album. It's called Your Game, and it's all about how Will is getting played by someone, but he isn't going to play their game anymore. He's going to play his own.
What you gonna do? I don't know. What you gonna say? I ain't sure.
It's not about Pop Idol, but it could be. Maybe. I mean, it's not. It's actually not, but it could be. But it's not. I really like it. It's super dramatic, the video's cool, and it is my pick of the best song to come out of Pop Idol. Will has released 8 studio albums and they've all charted in the top 3, with 4 of them hitting number 1. His most recent album, 2021's Crying on the Bathroom Floor, is a covers album celebrating some of Will's favourite female artists currently working in the music industry. I love the idea of creating an album that celebrates some of the modern female artists I admire in pop. In today's times, it's so much easier and accepted to occupy other genders' ideas and explore new avenues. I wanted to understand what it might be like to sing their lyrics. I wanted to bring songs from female artists who I admire into a new arena. And I think he's pretty without any makeup on. I'm glad Will won Pop Idol. I wanted him to win at the time, and I still feel like he was the worthy winner 20 years later. And I'm glad it worked out for him. His music is for grown-ups, and I think it helped expand my music taste at a very young age. As for the rest of the Pop Idol crew, all 4 judges would return for a second season on Pop Idol with Ant and Dec as presenters. It would be the show's last season. Considering how huge this was, it's remarkable to look back at how short-lived it was. Idol as a franchise would go on to huge success internationally, launching the careers of Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Adam Lambert, Jennifer Hudson, Courtney Act and Carly Rae Jepsen, to name a few. Nikki and Dr. Fox left the TV talent show sphere once Pop Idol ended, save for an appearance on the spoof series Britain's Got the Pop Factor, and possibly a new celebrity Jesus Christ soap star superstar Strictly on Ice.
The cameras are set, the phone lines are ready, the lights are rigged.
A parody programme lampooning the highly oversaturated and deeply formulaic reality competition show format. Britain's Got the Pop Factor highlighted the giant monster these kinds of shows had become. How in the years and years since Pop Idol, the idea multiplied and mutated too much. I was convinced it must have been made a good 15 years since season 1 of Pop Idol. It was made in 2008. It only took 6 years for the format to eat itself. Pete Waterman would return to the format once more to help put together the most unstoppable boy band of all time. And Simon Cowell would take the lessons he learned from this unexpected juggernaut to take over the world. I don't know if there will ever be anything like that first season of Pop Idol ever again. There was something so earnest about it. Because I choose to believe that it's real, the Heat magazine man convinced me. I think we're too genre savvy these days to properly enjoy a show like this anymore. We'll never be that innocent again. The green room will always have a stool at the ready now. There will always be a failsafe in case the audience doesn't vote the way they're supposed to. There will always be a big boomy man who says Rachel Adedeji. And I love the man with the big boomy who says Rachel Adedeji. But X Factor presented itself like it was the most important thing in the world. But Pop Idol felt like the most important thing in the world. At least to me. Oh, the 2000s, man.